What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. I'm Clark Taylor, and I do apologize if you're a regular viewer on Instagram. Having some technical difficulties over there, as well as on Facebook today. If you're on YouTube and you maybe know a friend that generally watches it over on one of those platforms, shoot them a text, give them a heads up that we are still live on YouTube, X, and Twitch. So you can still catch us today, despite the fact that both the meta platforms are down. I've got a sweet crew hanging out with me on this Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is December 11th. Winter is coming. AEW. We're going to break that down. We're going to talk about some other news-related things. Raw on Netflix. We got some Cody discussion, some ticket price discussion. I'm stoked to get into it. Let me introduce my co-hosts for the day. First and foremost, I'm going to send this one across the pond all the way to Scotland for the host of the Soul Sessions himself. Soul, what's going on?
You're very kind for introducing me first. Yes, people are wondering, where's the suit, Soul? Where's the suit? Well, simply, I've been using it a lot today. I've recorded 2 interviews. One lasted 2 hours, so I'm a bit let it give it time to rest. I'm wearing a puffer jacket because it's cold as anything in Scotland. It's -1 at the moment. Nonetheless, it's going to be a fun chat. We've obviously got some talks about WWE, AEW. I'm excited to get into this, boys.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense, Soul. Don't get me wrong. A 2-hour interview in a suit, that thing probably needs a bit of a wash or at least a rest. At least a rest. But up next, can't go without mentioning, we've got not just one, but potentially 2. His cousin may show up, but for the first time in quite some time, my good friend Carty Crisp is in the building. What's going on, Carty?
How are we, Clark? I'm doing good. I feel like I'm going to give a shout out, my very first Wrestling Republic shout out to Collegiate Wrestling, 5 o'clock Friday, Oklahoma State. I'm ready for that. But I mean, we got some great topics in real fighting, and as my cousin would say, a true combat sport, which is professional wrestling. But I mean, we got a great weekend of sports. College basketball. I mean, this week in pro wrestling is going to be great. I'm excited. Yeah.
Saturday night's main event. Absolutely. I'm stoked about it. Let's get right into it, though. Let's talk about Raw on Netflix and the potential changes we might see when Raw heads over there. There's been a lot of speculation about commercials, no commercials. It does seem to be that there will still be commercials. So that one's kind of off the table, right? There's a lot of other choices, though, as far as changes are concerned. The new logo that they've been using does seem to be updated for the Netflix launch. It, for lack of a better way to put it, to me, my first initial instinct was it looks more Netflixy, for lack of a better way to put it. It just does. As far as changes, I'm not totally sure. I'm really, really curious about the show length. Given the commercials and the way the breaks are going to go, I'm really, really curious about the show length. So I'm going to go to you out of the gates, though. What do you got in your bag of tricks for changes made to Raw as they enter the streaming era?
So obviously WWE Raw will mostly be primarily on Netflix, no other services. That's the main deal of it, especially with the United States and the UK and obviously Europe as well. My main thing is I would like for Raw to be presented the same way AEW product is on Triller, which means that picture-in-picture is simply the match itself and you hear the commentary. If for like an exclusive price on Netflix, like if you pay for Netflix and there's tiers, maybe you get like a WWE advertisement for the next pay-per-view or the WWE shop. But even if there's like an upper tier of that, you just get the match with like extra commentary. That's what I would prefer because I get to continue that flow. I feel like, especially with Raw, from what I've noticed as an international viewer, when I try to watch it through means, there's so many ad breaks and interruptions of American adverts that it really knocks the flow of the show for me. When you watch AEW on Triller, it feels continuous. There's no breaks for an IHOP. There's no breaks for the Popeyes. There's no breaks for General Motors. You get what you watch. You get that continuation flow, and I like that. I would love for that to be something for Raw because I think for international viewers in particular, it would be more of a digestible consumption of the product, especially with Raw being 3 hours. Like 3 hours is a lot of time to dedicate to a live show, especially a show that's obviously going to air at 1 a.m. for the UK audience, as well as other times depending on the international market. So yeah, I am a very big supporter for Raw being more digestible with its 3-hour time slot.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. I do still think total time, comparatively speaking to where it's at cable wise, it'll be around the same, right? Like if you say you just if you include the commercials when you're breaking it down, right? You probably get what 2 hours and maybe 5 minutes of
Yeah.
like it's on TV and not during commercials. I think it'll run around that with commercials, but I don't think it'll hit the full hours if they do that because they're not going to go to 5 60-second commercial spots. They're going to more likely go with the streaming service one where you get, two shorter spots, 2 30-second ads, maybe 3 15-second ads, something like that. And I think the breaks will be shorter. That's kind of a prediction that I've got when it comes to that. So I think we'll see a lot of like, because they're not necessarily fully up against a time slot with a follow-up like a cable show would be, we'll see some like 2 hour and 37-minute Raws, right? Some 2 hour and 41-minute Raws. And another thing I'm very curious about is, so right now on Peacock, you could watch Raw live when it was on USA Network. But you have to wait a month to rewatch it on the Peacock platform. I'm very curious if you can watch Raw on Netflix the next day as if you DVR'd it. So to your point about it being in the middle of the night, if you can wake up the next morning, click on Netflix, boom, watch all of Monday Night Raw, that's a game changer, right? You don't have to remember to set your DVR. You don't have to do anything. You just have a Netflix subscription. You wake up in the morning, click, it's on. And I think for viewership numbers, man, that's going to benefit it in the streaming age because everyone's going to count, right? It's not like you get dinged in the Nielsen ratings because people watch the replay of it and whatnot. But Carter, obviously, I got to get your thoughts on this one. Major changes, minor changes, any ideas you've got for Raw headed to the Netflix era?
Well, I need to always take this opportunity to troll the WWE fans. And I would like to make this maybe look a little more like the AEW product. No, I think my main criticism of Raw, the show, is the length and the lack of wrestling time that the wrestling is on the screen. As the resident All Japan 30-minute match, Korakuen Hall guy, I want to see more wrestling. I like the storytelling. I love the stuff Chelsea Green does and all the kind of jokes, but I'd like to limit that more and just have a little bit more wrestling just in general. Like the percentage of time on the program, I want there to be more wrestling. And I think my cousin would say the same thing, but I think overall I think the product's going to improve. It's like when PBC went from Showtime to Amazon. It's going to get better. It's going to improve, but and I think too the booking in WWE, it's getting better and better as kind of this new group starts to take over. So maybe they'll listen to me, and maybe I'll see more wrestling on my wrestling program. And I do like the silly stuff, the dumpster match, all that. I love that stuff, but like I don't want that to take up 60% of the program, right? When I'm
you especially with belts like the Intercontinental title and now the Women's Intercontinental title over on Raw, workhorse belts like that, like let's just see a little bit more competition. I actually think that that's a great call. It's going to ruffle some feathers because it's the classic like, ooh, you like this better than that. But I actually do think that's been a long time complaint about Monday Night Raw, dating back like 25 years. That's not necessarily, what I mean, a brand new deal. It's gotten better, but yeah, just a bit more physicality show to show, I think would greatly benefit the product. I mean, at the end of the day, they still did get just a massive deal with Netflix to be on that platform. So you got to give credit where it's due there. Right? They're doing something right for sure. We've got a few comments over here too. We got Numero and Superfly with hello. What's going on? Numero 1. DCX Warlord Monster shout out. He predicted Shotzi's return, and yes, he did. It's true. I can attest. I read the comment, and then I saw it happen. Both things are true. This is one of the funniest comments I've ever seen in my life. It says, "Hey, I want to challenge you in a WWE match on a trampoline." I don't know who that was for. like it's just so random.
You got him, Clark. You got that guy.
Do we call?
Although my money's on the other guy.
Who do we call about this?
Please message the Instagram page.
Is there a trampoline wrestling promotion that you're trying to push here? Because I'll plug them.
Work, not a shoot, please. We don't need Clark in any shoots.
No, not anytime soon. Oh, what is going on with the graphics here? That's a little funky. I've got them though. We're back. Sorry, we had a minor glitch there, but let's move on to our second topic of the afternoon, and that is which title is Cody Rhodes bringing to Saturday night's main event? So we've already seen Triple H announce that it's going to be, not even announced. There's that video promoting it, and you get Jesse the Body Ventura. It's going to have a very retro throwback feel. I love retro. I love throwback. I could not be more excited for this. But man, not to bury the lead here, Carter, but is this not the vintage Winged Eagle title belt that he's talked about since the minute he stepped foot in the WWE? Talk to me about that. And is it possibly some other title he's bringing back? Maybe my only other thought was maybe he's bringing a vintage Intercontinental title to become the women's Intercontinental title, but they've already unveiled what that belt looks like. So I have no idea.
You fools, you Americans. It's the spinner belt, you fools. Bunch of you fools.
Ooh, hold on.
Which one do you
I think
think
I have some allergies, and let me tell you.
Oh my
Mr.
God,
Taylor,
He's
let me
here.
tell you
oh
about
no,
what title belt Mr. Rhodes is bringing back now. Back when I was working the Mid-South back in Georgia with Ole and Arnett. Now, let me tell you, Mr. Rhodes, you made a good decision exiting that kindergarten over there that my cousin just mentioned. I don't know what he was thinking, saying the good product should look more like that product, but I mean, he made the best move. You know, he came on over. My dear old friend Dusty, he finished his dad's store, and I think, give him a special belt. You got The Rock with his little Brahma bowl. Hell, give him the Winged Eagle. Make it a special Winged Eagle, and you know what, Soul? Make it spin. Make the
Spinning Winged
spin.
Eagle?
I don't even care. The spinning eagle. And give it 3. Don't do 1 spinner. Give it 3 spinners. That's 3 opportunities for mechanical errors on that belt, WWE, which you could collect the revenue on the repairs of these mechanical spinning mechanism. But I mean, no, I'm just happy Cody's back with the big boys. I mean, he just made the best call ever. He could be due for a heel turn at some point, but no, give him the spinning winged eagle.
All right. If you DCX Warlord predicted Shotzi's return, but I'll tell you what, if anybody predicted the triple spinning Winged Eagle being Carnette's call for which title to bring back, you win today's game of bingo during the daily broadcast.
From Louisville to the skies, let me tell you.
Talk about out of left field. That is one thing we've never seen is spinning side plates, though. Maybe you're onto something. And if you make the eagle spin, that's kind of cool. Looks like it's flying in a circle. You know,
I mean, what if it went up? The eagle went up, and what if you had a? There's
and
a
it's
lot.
best of both worlds. Soul, see, now you get your way, and the fans get it the retro way. I think Carnette's onto something here.
All right, Frank Sinatra doing it my way. All right.
What do you think, Soul? What do you think he's bringing back? I know you said the spinner earlier, but do you think it's the Winged Eagle?
Okay, in all seriousness, no jokes aside, it's the Winged Eagle. Cody has said that he wants to bring this belt back. Obviously, the design of the Winged Eagle's a trademark design by the original belt maker. So, do you either pay the belt maker for the original design over multiple years, which you may have the belt, or are you able to bite the bullet, make the price for a one-off night appearance? Especially with Saturday Night Main Event, they've got Jesse Ventura returning for classic feel. Yeah. They're using a lot of classic iconography with it. Hulk Hogan winning against multiple opponents. The Andre and Hogan match that was on NBC, which drew, I think, 10 million viewers. Yeah. They're going classic with this. And if you notice as well, and to my knowledge as well, like the IC and US belt aren't defended on the Saturday Night Main Event coming up, if I'm correct. It's just like the women's belt, the men's belt, which is World Heavyweight Championship.
That is, like, as far as the card's concerned, yes.
You, at the moment, of course, you can't do a classic version of those, but you can for the WWE Championship. And everybody wants the Winged Eagle back. It's a belt design that originates with a lot of people because of obviously the 80 boom period, which led into the 90s. It's a belt which I think is overrated in my opinion, but I know that a lot of people connect with it. That's why replicas of it still exist. That's why replicas sell off the shop like mad. It's a belt that connects with a lot of people. And of course, doing it for a one night off main event, I'm absolutely cool with that. I would love it if they did it for like the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression Era, where one night all the belts originate to their classic designs. like the
very
big,
cool.
like the spinner, like the World Heavyweight Championship, like the OG US and the OG
Yes.
Intercontinental. There's no harm in it, but what it does is it celebrates your company's history with these championships and the champions and wrestlers that held it during that time period with that iconic design.
I would be all over that, Soul. If you just like anytime it's Saturday night's main event, you break out the retro belts, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just the tradition. I'm all over that for one night, right? And they're saying they're going to do one quarterly, so 4 a year. So right, 4 times a year, you just get that old school aesthetic, and because you can sell a bazillion of them in the arena and on the shop too. It's a brilliant idea. And even we didn't even talk about like the tag belts. The 90s tag belts might be better than the Winged Eagle, and they're definitely better than the current ones. Those are some of the best tag belts with the little world in the middle and the world tag. They're cool. They were cool, like the globe in the center of it. I was all over those ones. I'd actually prefer that they brought those back full time versus like the circular ones they have right now. To me, they just are too perfect of a circle. I don't know how to explain it. It looks like a boxing belt to me, and not a pro wrestling belt. You know what I mean? It's like it needs to be more extravagant for pro wrestling, at least in my eyes. Excuse me. But then, yeah, I mean, Winged Eagle just seems so obvious. The only thing that is odd to me is that they didn't almost announce it. They didn't like give it away before for trying to sell it, because it seems strategically like you'd want people to prepare for that to be the case and go buy a bunch of them, right? And
the thing about like the monetary side of it is that if you introduce something all the time, like if you bring the Winged Eagle back all the time, it doesn't make the buying aspect of it for belt collectors appealing. You want a belt that is going to appear the one time and think, well, this is rare, because here's the thing. They're not going to bring back the Winged Eagle with the WWF logo on it.
Right.
Because that's obviously trademarked.
It has to be like modernized. No, that is a very good point.
So if anything, heck, they literally might just use a WWE shop version of it with the modernized classic logo.
Yes.
They do that. That's absolutely fine. That will entice more people to buy it. But if I was thinking business-wise, I would make a new version of the Winged Eagle, still the classic design, but like maybe larger plate size, more accurate to the old version, the old/new network logo on it. So yes, it has that classic identity of it, but you can sell it as an individual replica. And if you really want to make bank on it, limit the number.
Yes.
Heck, put a Saturday night main event belt strap on it for some more exclusive ones at the
over
arena.
that, some special inscription on the inside of the strap even. Yes, that is so 100,000%. That is how you do it. And like you said, the limited number would be clutch, because you could also do one of those like, listen, there's going to be this many in the arena, this many on the shop, then it's gone.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's just the smart way to go about this. DCX Warlord with Adam Copeland hates spinner belts. Yes, he does. And the best part is that like both times I believe that he held the WWE championship, he had the spinner, and including the one where he got his own spinner that didn't even say WWE on it. It just had the Rated R logo in the middle. It's like, unless you knew where it came from, it could have been a belt for anything. That was the most homemade I think a championship's ever looked. Like, don't get me wrong, I've made fun of the spinner in the past, but I actually did enjoy that era and think it's a cool belt with the WWE logo. When they got rid of the WWE logo in the middle and just put edges, it's like, that could be it. You just made himself a custom belt. Like, that could be anything. You know what I mean? Either way, though, let's keep it rolling here. Let's talk really quickly about our friends over at Progress Wrestling. If you haven't already checked out Demand Progress Plus, what are you waiting for? This is one of the best tape libraries on the internet, anywhere when it comes to pro wrestling. The current product for Progress is outstanding. Every chapter is better and better, and you get to see some of your absolute favorites and where they cut their teeth. Not only that, we're going to give you a discount. Use this code WatchProgress1. You're going to get 50% off your first month on Demand Progress Plus, the home of Progress, Defy, and many other promotions. One more time on that code. That is WatchProgress1. 50% off your first month. Absolutely worth it. Go check it out. I assure you, you will not be disappointed. Speaking of disappointment, though, woof. I mean, you guys can see over in the corner if you're watching on video here. I apologize to the audio listeners, but our third topic of the day is WWE ticket prices, and it's getting ugly out there. I read somewhere, what was it, 200 something buckaroos for a blocked view seat, a limited view seat. So what is going on with these jack ticket prices?
So to give clarification, I interviewed somebody today on my platform, The Soul Sessions, who has been with WWE in a wrestler, backstage, writer platform. And we talked about these ticket prices. And at the end of the day, you can hate them all you want, but WWE is successful. From a business point of view, what is a business's main goals? It's to make money and keep costs down. And with WWE being more popular than it is right now, we see with Triple H announcing these record-breaking dates for arena shows, for PLEs, for international shows, that there is a demand for the supply. Yes, I know a lot of people are upset with the Road to WrestleMania Europe tour ticket prices, especially within Glasgow and down south in England. I understand. I've looked at them and thought, I can skip it. I can skip it. There's no harm for me as a wrestling fan to not attend this event. And I understand for some people, they want to attend this event, whether it's with themselves, their partners, their friends, their families. They want to attend the WWE show. But especially with the UK and Europe, we don't get these a lot. We maybe get a Raw and a SmackDown taping every 2 to 3 years. We get a PLE every 2 years, right? And as a company, you will take advantage of that. You know there's a demand there for your company and your product. You will increase the ticket prices. You will increase your merch prices as well, because you know you don't attend these markets often enough that people will end up paying whatever they want to attend the shows. And we've seen that with even the Europe shows, that there are seats selling that are in the $600 range, or they're in the $500 range. People are buying it because they want to meet the demand of what the product is providing them. WWE is a hot commodity, and I understand that a lot of people will not like these ticket prices, but there will be people that will be happy to pay them.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to change until either A, the product goes from good to bad that it affects the attendance records, or B, there's such a national crunch or a national deprivement of payment for workers that they can't afford these, and it literally costs WWE an audience because nobody can attend these shows. Until that happens, people will happily will pay enough to attend these shows, no matter what the prices are. I don't like it. I don't like it myself. By the end of the day, it is just effectively good business.
So truthfully, I don't think you could be more spot on with that take. Like, I feel the exact same way. It's one of those things you're like, oh man, it's sad, right? Like, you used to be able to, I remember, growing up, especially for a live event, right? Not necessarily like a Raw or a SmackDown or a pay-per-view, but like you could always, like, especially if you didn't mind where you sat, you could get even like day of tickets, right? Like you can like be like, you know what, they're in town, like I'm gonna go. And even in the United States, it feels a lot less like that than it did before. Like the prices are up and everything. But to your point, if the demand's being met, there's no reason for a price change, right? Like they're a business, not a charity. And at the end of the day, if everybody is paying, if people are filling the buildings, they're going to charge the most they can where people still fill the buildings. And until that changes, that's going to be what it looks like. It's brutal. But I mean, you kind of see it in everything. Like the UFC tickets are ridiculous right now, right? Like anything that's on fire is just absolutely like blowing up as far as prices are concerned. Events. I mean, look at what concert ticket. Look at what people were doing for Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Like I mean, that's absolutely absurd. People were like spending half a year's salary to go see Taylor Swift once. Like,
yeah, I mean, even with the UK in itself, Oasis, a band that obviously united after multiple years.
Perfect example.
There was such a demand for it, and of course, I know people will immediately go to the Ticketmaster dynamic pricing, but obviously, Ticketmaster is the dominant organization when it comes to concert event ticketing, so they can control the market in a way that benefits them as a company. We can't like it. We can moan and say we don't like it at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, these are companies that need to make a profit for their shareholders, for their employees, and for the owners. there's nothing that's really going to change of this until the business itself collapses. And I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. I'm 100% with you. And then even like Creed, by the way, Oasis Creed, all that, it's ridiculous. Carter, what about you? I mean, with these ticket prices, you and I have obviously gone to a bunch of events the last couple years, right? I think PWG might have been the only time we were able to just sort of do the old school walk up and get a ticket that was reasonable. Right? I mean, even going to Dynamite, you and I like sitting on Ticketmaster, like, how much are we willing to spend? And like, we picked the one in Ontario because it was a little bit more affordable, honestly, and it's not as close to our houses as the other choice. But anyway.
Mm-hmm. No, well, we're in Southern California. I noticed, so it's in. We bounced around a lot, so we actually have a lot of things to say. And I've been with the second home in Vegas. I could compare this to boxing and stuff. But when we went to I went to Wrestle Dream. The prices were very chill. I think I got a good lower bowl seat for about $150. When AEW comes to the Forum, it's a little crazy. It's like $100 for a nosebleed. It's like $250, so it's a little crazy in LA. What I noticed, so I have 2 tickets to this first Raw Netflix. I paid $250, $300, so I paid about $600 including fees. And those were the cheapest seats I could find. Literally, I want to be in the building. I've been in that stadium a bunch of times because family likes the Clippers, but I'm like, I just want to be in the building, and at a minimum for 2 people, it was $600.
Yeah.
To compare it, UFC, the minimum was $550 before fees. So if you're taking a buddy to UFC, you're spending about $1,400. Granted, that card is card of the year if you follow MMA.
Right.
That's like one. So it's actually kind of worth it. But I mean, the thing is, I'm saying this as a Southern California guy. Like, if you can't make that UFC or that WWE, you have PWG, you have GCW, you have so many things. You have, I mean,
there are affordable entertainment choices in the same genre is a great point actually too. Because if you think about it, like there's a lot of, and I understand the complaints about how high the tickets prices are. Like, please don't say I'm like shaming anybody that's like, I really wanted to go, but it's just too expensive for me to justify it. In no way. Like, I've got empathy for that without question. But it is interesting to me that it's only the height of the industry where we're really seeing that. To Carter's point there, you can still go, no matter where you live, you can go find that form of entertainment, professional wrestling, that is, right? And you can go to an affordable show. No, it's not the WWE. No, it's not your heroes, but you can still do that. You can still watch it on TV. You can still buy the merch and all of that. It's kind of like, I compare it also to like the Super Bowl, right? 90% of the population, if their team goes to the Super Bowl, isn't like, oh, I'm going to spend that 10 grand on the ticket. But week 6 against the Chargers, you can go to a game, right? And that's just kind of the nature of the beast there. Like, it is what it is. You're going to see higher ticket prices where the demand is at its highest. And that's kind of what these events are, because Soul even talked about the exclusivity. You don't get to, it's a novelty. You don't get to see them all the time. They aren't consistently touring in the same exact place, right? So it's a commodity in that regard, and it makes sense that the prices would be high. And so, yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like, not to beat a dead horse, so but it is a tough one to navigate, because, you don't want to come across as being like, too bad, suck it up and just fork up the cash, right? That's not at all what we're saying. It's just, it's the nature of the business, because the demand is there to justify the prices. You know what I mean? But let's get on to something a little happier. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite tonight. Let's preview it. Winter is here, or it's coming, depending on who you ask. I guess it's coming tonight on TBS. Let me break down the card for everybody. It's in Kansas City, Missouri. Monster shout out to all my friends in KC. Gotta love that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go visit Tuna for this one because he's going for his winter residency in Aspen. DJ Hayden, what a nutcase. If you're in Aspen, make sure you say what's up to DJ Hayden, DJ of the Chiefs. Kid's the man. But let's talk about this card. We've got 2 halves of Undisputed Era. They're the team formerly known as Undisputed Era. Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Not in 2 halves, 2 quarters, I guess. But the winner will take on MJF at World's End. I'm excited about this one. Obviously, we've also got Ricochet in the Continental Classic taking on Brody King. We've got Claudio Castagnoli also in a Continental Classic. Claudio Castagnoli Continental Classic is impossible. I apologize there. Like, I should have done it in a different order, but against Will Ospreay in the Continental Classic. And then we've got the AEW's Women's World Championship being defended by Mariah May against Mina Shirakawa. And last but certainly not least, Jon Moxley and Pac of the Death Riders taking on Jay White and Orange Cassidy. Soul Man, I'm going to start with you. What are you looking forward to most? What a stacked card for a Wednesday in December.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the Continental matches. Just think they will work perfectly with the Continental format. I definitely still think, 100% in my mind, it's Ospreay versus Fletcher for the finals at World's End. Adam Cole versus Roderick Strong. I understand people don't like the storyline, but I like seeing these two work in the ring, so I'm excited for that on that aspect. It's definitely going to be Adam Cole going against MJF. How they end this feud, I think, is the real telling point of it, and will be the really deciding factor of how this overall storyline that's going on for more than a year will face its conclusion. I kind of hope Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May main event, just because it is a championship match. But with how AEW has displayed their graphic for the show, Pac, Moxley, and Jay White and Hangman are above that. Jay White and Orange Cassidy are above that. So it does make me a bit worried. I 100% in my mind think that the women should main event Dynamite no matter what. Even if not Toni Storm intervenes, I still think they should main event 100%. But I still think at the end of the day, this is an enjoyable episode of Dynamite. It will be a great showcase of wrestling, from women's tag to men's singles matches. It's just overall going to be a fun show.
No doubt about it. Sorry about that on the slow camera cut there. I had to hit the cough button, but we are good to go. I'm really hyped about this one. And obviously winter's coming. You have great history with the debut of Sting and all of that. Interesting to see no Darby Allin on the card. Only because of his affiliation with Winter is coming, given his ties to Sting. But I don't think it necessarily matters. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. On a random Wednesday night, sign me up for Claudio and Ospreay. How could that possibly be a bad match? Like, they could wrestle in their sleep, and it would be perfect. I'm stoked about that one. And Brody King, both the Continental Classic matchups are great. Brody King Ricochet, didn't have that on my bingo card early in the year. I'm all over that. Talk about the classic big man versus the speed and agility of a Ricochet. They can put together a heck of a match. We saw what Brody did with Darby Allin. That match was outstanding. He's really good at the big guy, little guy match, because he's also surprisingly athletic for his size. I know you know Brody King as well as anybody, Carter. Including that match, what are you looking forward to most when it comes to this card?
I'm going to give a little special shout out to Santino Bros for training Brody and making him to the monster he is, and hardcore music for making him angry about the world. But no, I think that's my match of the night. I potentially have the Claudio match as number 2 in there. I mean, so I use this term Chikara pilled all the time. Like, I don't know if our listeners are aware, but for like Claudio, it was Orange Cassidy's promotion, and I don't know if Claudio was an ant in it or something, but like, it's just I love Chikara so much, and this is a Chikara card basically. I mean, like, just put ant masks on half of these guys, and it's so. I mean, Claudio and Ospreay. It reminds me of a match I saw in person, which was Ospreay and Josh Alexander at TNA. Yeah, and that was like, I forget how many. I think Meltzer gave it so many stars he couldn't rate matches for a week. He gave it like 7.5.
His wrist writing the stars down.
Yeah. No, I brought non-wrestling fans with me to that match, and standing ovation, just killer. I mean, like Ospreay does. The women's match is I mean, 2 of the best in the promotion, you could argue, you know, like, and then I mean, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly too. That's real graps. That's real graps right there.
To end the show, I wanted to talk about that one specifically because I think it's kind of unpredictable in some ways, because of how many shenanigans we could see surrounding this match. I still think, as much as World's End does logically, Soul, you made this call early, right? World's End, Adam Cole, MJF.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like there's one more step along the way where they pull the rug out from under Adam Cole, and it might be tonight. I don't know for sure, But if anybody could do something sleazy and not allow Adam Cole to get to him, it's Max. I don't know.
The thing is with that is that I know a lot of people don't like this storyline, because of obviously a lot of heel turns and babyface switches that have made to accompany the storyline. I think at the end of the day, what I respect AW doing is wanting to see it to the end. You don't leave a story with a faulted finish. You want to see it to the end. I think now more than ever, with a 1 year time period between the initial turn from Adam Cole to MJF, you have to just wrap it up.
Yeah.
I understand people don't like the storyline. I understand people want it to just have a quick revolution, but I respect AEW for wanting to see it out to the end. And I hope that's just what they do with the storyline, is that they wrap it up in maybe not the nicest bow, but at least a passable bow on the storyline in this feud. That they could absolutely revisit it down the line with either a Better Than You Baby reunion as a heel or a face team, or even as a matchup in a tournament between the two when they face off against each other in another way. But 100% in my mind, Adam Cole and MJF should stay far away from one another after this match that they have. No second match, no trilogy. Just let it happen and have each wrestler divide in their own way. MJF remains as a single competitor. Adam Cole, I mean, I wouldn't mind him tag teaming with Roddy or trios with the Kingdom for the Undisputed Kingdom to become a solidified team. There's other ways that you can use both men, but I don't think in the same division is the way you use them.
Yeah, I would truthfully be just fine with this being over or at least shelved after World's End. To your point, I think you're spot on with that assessment there. So like it's been dragged out. It's had so many wrenches thrown in it, whether it be injuries or whatever. Like on paper, Adam Cole and MJF should have been an absolute epic, right? This should have been an absolute classic. It hasn't been. It's not over till it's over, but it's just, let's get there. Let's get to the finish line so we can put it on the back burner and then maybe try this again later at a later date, and also, I'm not to circle back to something you said earlier, but I'm actually in agreement that I think the AEW Women's World Championship match should main event tonight.
Yeah,
it's a world title match. The way it's listed on the poster, yes, you've got Moxley and Pac versus Jay White and Orange Cassidy at the top of the card, but I think that should be the main event in general. Just it's a long told story, realistically speaking, too. Like Mina and Mariah have been, at it for quite some time. It could be anything here. Carter in the chat, did you want to talk about that too? Like,
we've been using AI. I've been asking AI wrestling questions, and I asked them to summarize AEW. And then somewhere in there, they said that Pac and Jay White are steamrolling towards a rivalry. Now,
yep.
Jay White he's my favorite guy in AEW right now. I just got the figure from, I don't know if we could shout out the company he came from. It was sweet. I think Ringside Collectibles.
You can shout
But like Jay White,
they're friends of the show.
Are they friends? Okay.
Yeah.
Ringside Collectibles. I got the red jacket Jay White, 10-star figure, and that's on a 5-star scale. I think him and Pac, that I want to see that match 100 times. Like, do that territory style. Run it in Tennessee, run it in Kentucky, run it in Florida. I just like, that's just, I mean, I don't know if that's what this tag match is headed towards, but like when I asked AI, I said, update me on AEW, and it said, this is brewing. I go, that's whoever wrote that is genius.
Jay White and the bastard Pac collision course. I love it. I'm excited about it. Yes. I think that's awesome, and I'm excited for that rivalry. There's a lot of good stuff going on. This Continental Classic, man, has been off the charts. It's amazing, I think, what the difference a year makes. The perception of it this time last year, not as good. The perception of it right this second, I think has been significantly better just because the two pools are so good. There's so much depth. And not that the pools were bad last year, I think there was just maybe some confusion. Now we kind of get the rules set. It is funny to me because I didn't necessarily expect it year to year for the perception to sort of flip on its head like that. And I'm stoked about it. Absolutely. Like, this is going to be a great Dynamite. Winter is coming. We've got Saturday Night main event coming up, Raw on Netflix, all kinds of good things. It is a great time to be a professional wrestling fan. But honestly, guys, that is going to bring us to the end of the show. Everybody, we appreciate you for tuning in. We will get it back up and running on Instagram and Facebook tomorrow, unfortunately, when those issues get sorted out. But for everybody that did tune in today, Thank you so much. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do on behalf of me, Clark Taylor, Carter, and Soul, and everybody at Wrestling Republic. Thank you. Have an awesome one. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. That's noon Pacific, 3 o'clock in the East, 8 o'clock in the UK, and of course, 9 a.m. in Hawaii. Have an excellent Wednesday, and we'll talk to y'all soon.